G'day guys, just thought I'd come on and have a bit of a chat. If you hear some funny noises, it's a horse over in here chewing on a lick. It's not me. But yeah, Lynn was telling me this morning, it's been on the MSM that there's been a bit of people going around thieving stuff off farms, particularly diesel oil, of course. But that's the MSM. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But it's on the cards, I guess. But yeah, but I was just, when I heard that, I started thinking about a story. I'll tell you a bit of a yarn of a old bloke that used to live up in the mountains. And I got a good mate, I've been mates all my life, just lives over the hill here from me, and his mother's side of the family all came from over Jindabyne, that snowy river country, and they knew this old guy, and he lived up sort of on the New South Wales border on a river called Injigudby, the Injigudby River. And Charlie Carter was his name, this old dude, and apparently he got hold of 50 acres of freehold there. So he bought this freehold and he got 150 acres of lease country in the bush, in the mountains. And he survived by doing a bit of prospecting and trapping brumbies and things like that and living off the land. Well, to a degree. I remember my mate's mother saying that he'd come into Jindabyne every now and again with a pack horse, and he'd get his flour and whatever, supplies. They'd buy stuff in bulk and pack it on the horse back out into the mountains. But there was and it's in the middle of the mountains up here. There's no one within cooey of him, but across the river there was another little bit of freehold. And I'm sure it was two brothers, Freebody brothers. They owned that bit of freehold across the river. So old Charlie must have been a bit of a stubborn old guy, and the Freebodies and old Charlie Carter didn't get on well. And so when one would go away, vice versa, I think it used to happen, that they'd go and raid one another's stores. So Freebodies went away this time, and old Charlie goes over and on their stash of flour there's a sign saying this flour has poison in it. So old Charlie, not to be outdone, he puts his own sign back on the flour saying, well, if it wasn't before, it is now. So the story goes in the book that Freebodies had to throw their flour out, of course. But I don't know what I mentioned, there's a book, I was trying to find it so I could look at a few passages in it, read it to you, but I think the author was Ian Stapleton, and he had a bit of an article in there about Charlie Carter. And there was another book called Before We're Forgotten about the Snowy River people too, but I can't find either of them. So that was a bit of a yarn about Charlie Carter. And I thought, yeah, these people go around knocking off stuff off farms, you never know what they're going to get, do they? They might get a drum of diesel oil with some bad engine corrosive product in it. So, yeah, I thought that was a good one, yeah. If it wasn't before, it is now. But anyway, this old Charlie Carter, he ended up having a run-in with these Freebodies, and I think he threatened them with a gun or something, and so he ends up in front of the beacon. It cost him his property trying to pay lawyers to keep himself out of jail, but so he had to sell his property, and the only people that would buy his property were, of course, the Freebodies across the river, because there's no one else within cooey of the place. So when he come out of jail, he ended up back up there in the mountains, and there's a place called the Tin Mines. There's the hut, there was the tin mines, and there were some huts there I think the workers must have lived in, and so he took up residence in one of the huts up there at the tin mines. It's on the Injigudby River as well, but the hut's still standing, apparently. I haven't been there. I've been on to my mate over here. He's been up around there riding horses and that, and I want to get up there before I die and have checked the place out. But I've been close to it, but just haven't got there. So, yeah, if you're listening, Gary, got to get up there. Anyway, yeah, so that was a bit of a story about old Charlie. So he lost his property to the free body, so that was a bit of an axe he had to grind the rest of his life. So, yeah, but I often listen to the stories of the old fellas that lived up that way, and actually a lot of my mates, quite a few of his relatives, we'd go and visit over there, and most of them, well, they're all gone now, but, you know, I used to love going and listen to them talk and the stories and that they'd tell. Yeah, of living up there. But, yeah, like I say, these people are going to go around knocking off stuff off farms. Look, most people that have been on farms their life are pretty well switched on to what's going on around them, you know. There's a lot of new people in this area now. There's not many of the old farmers left. There's just a handful, really. My family's been farming since the year died. The relatives that are all around, that's what they've all done, farming. So not all farmers, people might think farmers are a bit of hayseeds, but most of them, the ones that have been farming all their life, are pretty switched on to what's going on and can read people's character a fair bit, you know. It's funny, like I say, there's not too many of them left now. I used to look at all the old fellas, now I'm one of them. So this, my mate's old man was probably the last one to go that we could ask anything about, you know. I wished I'd listened more to my old man when he was alive. But it's funny, you know, I've got another fella's cattle on my place now, and I was friends with his old man. His old man was sort of my father's vintage, but I got on well with him, and my father farmed and dairy farmed and grew beans, and he used to grow beans with this young bloke on his father's property and his uncle's property, and things back then, it was done on a handshake. There wasn't contracts written up and stuff like that. So there's not many left now that are that were around in those days now, you know. And I've got his cattle on here. We didn't write up a contract or do anything. I seen him one day and I said, well, you know, what's it worth to you? We just agreed on something, and that was it. There was no, you know. And you can't do that very often now with people, but he knows the generations, our family and their family have been in partnerships and things with them all that time. So my grandfather and also his grandfather, so it's come down generations, and he knows if he does the wrong thing by me, well, he's gone, you know. And if he doesn't like how I'm going to treat him, well, he'll probably do the same. But it doesn't. It's just not how it works, you know. But things have changed so much now. There's not many people that you could just have a handshake deal with anymore, you know. Not many at all. I've got a few mates that we grew up together. I know if they get stuck, I'll give them a hand. I know if I was stuck, they come and give me a hand. But there's so many new people in the area now. Yeah, it's funny. I go to a little town up here, like you're a stranger, really, you know. Yet I've been here all my life. Well, like I say, my family's been here generations farming. And like I say, there's not many of the old farmers left. I'm the old farmer. Yeah, so I'm pretty lucky, really, because when I left school fairly young, and I wasn't interested in education. I just never apply myself at school. I spent most time wagging it with my mates. But done me good too, I think. So I look at some of them school teachers, I wouldn't like to be in their shoes, and they're trying to tell us what to do. Anyway, that's a bit arrogant, isn't it? But anyway, I left school and I went work for the local butcher. He had a butcher shop in the town up here, and there was an old slaughterhouse up further up the road, and I went up there and I learned to kill, and I was a solo slaughterman. It was all solo stuff then. Everything was solo. We chopped them down with a big chopper. We used an endless chain. There was no modern technology at all. And I left there and went to a bigger place later on, and up there when I first left school, we do the killing of them all. I ended up working there by myself because the boss's son went off. He had a farm and he ended up going away and living on his farm, and so I was there by myself most of the time, and we did, you know, beef, lambs, pigs, sheep, whatever, anything, goats, whatever people would eat, we'd do it. So, and I'd kill in the morning, and then of an afternoon I'd go and I'd salt the hides, and I'd spread the sheepskins, and we used to have pigs, a heap of pigs there then, and we used to put the paunches and guts in one, and the runners in one, and the heads in another copper, and fill them up with water and boil them up, chop the wood and boil these big coppers up for the pigs, and we feed it to the pigs next day. I used to. And if there's any time left before knock-off time, I'd be out on the slashing or doing some farm work, because he had a farm there as well. So, but I left there and went to a abattoirs in the big town here from us is called Bensdale, and I worked in the abattoirs there, and it was a piece of cake after working up here. All I had to do was turn up. They supplied me with white clothes. I'd kill 60 sheep and go home. So it was, compared to what I was doing when up here, it was a breeze. I just done sheep in there. It was solo then too. There's 4 of us on the sheep. We did 60 each. So they'd be penned up for you. You drag them out, stick whatever you wanted, 8 or 10 or something at a time. When you finished the last one, you went home, went and took your dirty clothes off, chucked them in the bin and had a shower and went home. So I still been in good stead really, because over the years I've done a lot of home killing and process and that sort of thing. And I used to work in the butcher shop. When I had time, I'd go down, if there wasn't anything to do on the farm, I'd go down and help out in the butcher shop. So yeah, it was good. So there's nothing new under the sun about killing your own meat and stuff like that. Yeah, so anyway, the moral of this story is, for these dudes that want to go and knock stuff off, be careful what you're getting. Okay guys, cheers for now.